Hello, hello.
He's in there. Classic. What's up? Welcome to episode 3 of the Total Pile podcast. My camera was turned off, but that's only affects Twitch. Haha. Classic. How's it going, Brock? Welcome back.
Going pretty good.
How was your weekend?
It was just okay. I had a good weekend, but playing Pokemon wasn't too great this weekend.
Well, let's dive into that. I didn't play any Pokemon, so I had no value to this podcast besides me watching San Paulo. So how was your playing Pokemon weekend?
I actually did not watch Sao Paulo, but so Friday night I went and played like a local league, and I decided to try out the new Gardevoir deck, because I had so much success with Gardevoir last format. And I proceeded to go 1-2, and I dropped from the tournament and went home. The
Nice.
deck just did not operate. I literally lost one game to opening Mimikyu versus Charizard, and 7 turns went by, and I did not see another Pokemon.
What a Gardevoir problem to have.
And I'm like, okay. And I took 3 knockouts. And at any point during the game, if I would have saw one Buddy Poffin, we're right back in the game. But I didn't see anything. So I was like, okay. And then the following day I had a cup. And my top choice was Gardevoir to play at the cup. And I said, whoop, I'm not playing that. So I basically ran Liam's exact 60 from Orlando in the cup.
Yeah.
And I proceeded to go 4-2. And I lost to Kenny Bishop, who ended up winning the tournament. And my other
Charizard
buddy,
Mirror or what?
Charizard Mirror, he played Max Belt, I played Prime Catcher, and I just had awkward draws halfway through the game. And he started Cleffa and got full boards set up, and I just couldn't do anything about it. Couldn't deal with the Max Belt to Charizard, basically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we talked about that math the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my opinion has changed on the Max Belt versus Prime Catcher debate. I think Prime Catcher is just correct. Because the Prime Catcher just allows you to have like such better matchups into everything right now.
It's more versatile, like we talked about.
It's much more versatile. Like last week I was like back and forth, but like now that I've played the Prime Catcher version, I just feel like the Prime Catcher version is like leaps and bounds better than Max Belt.
Sure.
Unless the room ends up being like 40% Charizard. Which I don't ever seeing the room be that.
Yeah.
But so I ended up going 4-2, and the funniest thing was we knew there were going to be 2 4-2s that made top 8.
Right.
Just with how the math ended up going.
Which resistance?
And I had the second best resistance of the 4 potential 4-2s. So I was sitting at 8th before the last round started.
Yeah.
And it was a 6-round cup. So basically I played against a Lugia player. He set up one Archeops. I killed the one Archeops and he scooped.
Yep.
Just basically how that matchup goes sometimes. So I did what I had to do to give myself a shot. And what proceeded to happen was, so Kenny was one of my opponents. He tied, which how that math works out, it's essentially half a win. The math on it's weird when it comes to ties. And then all 4 of my other opponents all lost.
So your resistance just died.
So my resistance went from 64% down to 55.
Yeah.
So I fell from 8th to 11th. And I was like, okay. So it was a bad beat on that one.
Bubbled out.
I bubbled out. I mean, I did what I had to do. I lost like the the other loss I had was against Chin Pao, and he hit turn 2 Candy, Backs, Canceling Cologne, Prime Catcher, Kill My Manaphy, double bib setup, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
good job.
Reagan proved in Orlando that canceling Cologne is just correct to have again, right?
Yes,
Like it's
like
just
you
like
have to play it. Yeah.
yeah. I think overall you'll be
But it
fine.
felt bad.
It does feel
Yeah,
bad.
no, I wasn't too upset about it.
I
So
would
I was
be.
like, I lost those two, and then I went and hung out with one of my friends, Devin and Katie, and had a good. We went to a bar, and he actually ended up. He's a ex musician, or ex like professional musician, and halfway through the night he ended up on stage playing with the band. So that was
That's
kind of
cool.
cool.
That's hey,
Yeah, it was cool. It was
highlights
cool.
there. Good
Yeah, it
award.
was cool.
Uh,
And then on Sunday, there was a store down in South Haven that needed some help getting a league started. So I went down there and we had 5 people show up. It was a small first time league, but we at least got it started and kind of got the bug in people's ear about it. So another, I think it's like number 7 or 8 league in Memphis now.
that's
Um,
ridiculous.
yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah, I we have 2 here where I'm at, and then I guess we'll save that for another pod. But you are now part of starting like I want to say there was like what there was technically 2 when I left Memphis
Yeah.
back in 2018, and now
No, there
there's
was
like 9.
one.
No, because there's
There was
one
just
on.
one.
Oh, it was just you're right. It was just
It
one.
was just GMMA. That was our only choice.
That
So
was.
all these, I've personally been I've
Yeah,
helped start 2 now.
that's sick.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do an episode about like judging and stuff because like obviously you went through
Yeah.
the Professor Cups or Professor
Yep.
Cups. You went through the professor's exam and whatnot.
Yep.
Still wish they
And
had the lab.
organizer exam.
I wish they still had the lab coats. Those were sick.
Yeah.
Those are undefeated. Anyone who still has a lab coat's an OG. If you go buy a fake doctor one, that doesn't count. There used to be like a Play Pokemon official lab
I
coat.
could buy one from someone right now, but it would cost me far too much
Yeah,
money
well, yeah,
that I'm willing to
they're
spend.
so expensive now. I want to say like $400 or $500 if you find one.
Yeah,
They're
that's on
nuts.
the lower end of them, but yes.
Yeah, but like I mean, like because like you can compare it to like
Even
everyone.
one of the shirts, even one of the Play Pokemon shirts are like 100.
Yeah, and like because it's only like they only give out technically like what is it
They
9?
don't give any of them out anymore.
No, they only give them out to stream games at regionals. You talking about those play Pokemon shirts? You talking about the old ones?
No, I'm talking about the Play Pokemon Judge shirts.
Oh yeah, those are impossible to get.
Yeah.
Those are impossible. Anywho, so yeah, super cool. There was a regional down in South America in Sao Paulo, so we're here to talk about it. Let's get that popped. Bam. And nope, didn't work. Classic. Cancel. There it is. Move my camera out of the way. A little bit higher. Self-tuning. Boom. Here we go. We're on it. So this is only for day 2. We don't have the day 1 stats. I couldn't find them on Twitter. But Charizard ended up leading the meta again. It's the only deck above 10%. Charizard finished at 27% of day 2 meta, followed by Chinpao, Arceus, Lugia, Espathra, Future Box. They couldn't even separate it anymore. They just counted as Future Box. Lost Zone Box and Roaring Moon tied for technically 7th, but it's like the top 6 decks after Charizard. Which is it seems normal, but the one that sticks out, as I said it in the middle there is 8 Espathra in day 2. Thoughts? Let's hear it. Espathra day 2. I think the top finish was like I want to say 16th or 17th. 20th, sorry, 20th. But that is a lot of Espathra and a lot of Charizard hate for one event, and it still didn't work. So thoughts?
So my first thoughts is like similar to what I said last week was like if you have a good Charizard matchup, then I think you're a viable deck. And from what I haven't played the deck personally, and probably will never play the deck. It just has some good weird matchups. Like Dino Box and Roaring Moon are good because they have to have an extra energy to attack.
And they only play the
Have to have
9.
exactly. So
Roaring Moon needs
and
4
then
energy to one shot.
Exactly. And then Hands has a good matchup into it because again it's the same concept. They need an extra energy to be able to do anything, and 5 energies on Iron Hands
I
is
would
a
think
lot.
you even avoid, especially if they already have the spot they're out. You're avoiding Ampy very much. You're just arm pressing for 4 energies.
Yeah, you're just arm pressing.
Which feels terrible.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, but then like sometimes you even still need 5 because how many stadiums does that deck play?
I think it's just 1.
Yeah, and
Depending on
because
I think it's just they play 1 town store. Is the average
and then
list
the SV
nowadays?
Spothor deck plays like 2 of the headquarters,
They
correct?
play at least 2 headquarters, and they might even throw an
Yeah,
artisan in there for consistency.
exactly. So like, this list I'm looking at plays 2 headquarters, so it's like
The 20th one.
it's, yeah. So it's like it's just the deck just seems good because it's weird. Because it forces you to make bad plays. And the Bayonet in there to be able to just be annoying until you can build up your Expothras and your Zatus. Just his deck just seems like a headache to play against.
Yeah, and it's so simple to play against. Most decks that are headaches to play in the format are complicated. And this is just simple. Like, hey, start Bayonet, start item locking, get a supporter back, set up Zatus, and then finish the game with the Spothras. Because like if you just even if you're playing like and like the most common one that is like an auto win is you just automatically beat Shen Pao. Unless they play the one of artifacts now, which is now a thing because of this deck. I saw a couple people playing one of artifacts in online tournaments and stuff like that. Like one of is just like for whatever reason, just for de-evolutions and stuff like this. You can't just get by with just rare candy anymore because of decks like Bennett from Brenner's list at EYC.
I have a friend that like swears by the artifacts. I'm like, bro, it's just not worth it, and I still don't think it's worth it.
I mean, like if you play against this deck, you just auto lose.
I mean, the thing is like you're gonna be able to manually attach 5 energies to it before it kills you.
No, because as soon as you get what is it? It's 30 times 30 more for each energy, right? Attach the 2 actives.
Yeah.
So you're
so you just you attach 2. You attach 2 to it, discard it, attach 2, discard it.
Yeah, 4 turns, bro. You're getting knocked out by a Spothra before 4 turns.
Well, I mean, if they're attacking or if they're doing that, it's Spothra, then you can rare candy backs up.
I agree. I get what you're saying. Yeah. The timeline, and I have to play with it more. Well,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like on paper, like that's what you would do. Like,
Iono yourselves and
exactly. If that's how it I doubt that's how it works out. Like how I'm thinking.
Double boss, right? Like you're getting annihilated. I hate this deck with the passion just from playing Moon so much. Like I hate it. It's part of the reason why I want to play 4 stadiums now in Moon. But that's a different conversation. But yeah, so like there was 8 of these things. I think one of the Hernandez brothers played it in the Masters division. It's Vinny's the older one, right?
Yeah.
Vinny played this and then his younger brother won the seniors with Gardevoir.
Yep.
So I think this is like his 4th or 5th inter regional level tournament or higher win in a row for the kid and seniors.
I'm not sure exactly how many it is. I know the stat still rings true, where it's like
he don't lose.
Every tournament that him or his brother have entered, they've won.
One of them have
because
won.
One of them has won because Vinny won the one
in Charlotte.
That Gabriel lost.
Yeah, he won in Charlotte, which is crazy. So they're always a force to be reckoned with.
I think so. Something I wanted to talk about was like, so the LATAM region for a long time was like one of the weaker regions in my opinion.
Yeah, that was definitely
besides like except like your top players. Like we all knew who Gustavo Wada was. We all knew I knew who Pedro Bertuzzi was just because he's been playing since around the time that I started playing a lot.
Yeah.
But for a while, like, so you knew, Henry won Worlds for Australia, so we knew the brain trust of Australia were good. But now, like, William Azevedo, Pedro Bertuzzi, and all these other LATAM players, like, they're making a case for being just as strong as all the other regions, and it's really cool to see because, like, it's just they all the regions have like their top players now,
Yeah,
and they're all good.
they've grown with the numbers, right? Like say with
Exactly.
every region across the
Yeah.
world, like more players equals a higher number of higher level players. Like it just
Yeah.
mathematically growing over time, and so they've just gotten better with the more. I think the more resources too helps out a ton. Like prior to COVID, right? Limitless was like, I don't know how far. I mean, I was kind of out of the game when COVID dropped and we didn't travel too much, me and you. But I don't think Limitless was as dominant as it was now, right?
So the thing is about Limitless is I even remember this because I was thinking back after LAIC, like when I got my first day 2 with God of War. Um,
The Sylveon Gardevoir.
no, it was a Alola Ninetales God of War with
Yeah.
the item search Alola Ninetales.
Mm-hmm.
So I like basically just watched Robin Schultz's game over and over and over to try to figure out what the 60 was for his
Right. That's what
deck.
you had to do to like play it at like half speed and then like literally count the
Exactly.
cards you saw.
Um, and I was wrong because I thought he was playing 3 max potions when he was only playing 1 because he would use the. So I had 2 dead cards in my deck that I were like the worst cards in my deck
Yeah.
because you never use 3, not that
Yeah.
format. Except
No.
when you were playing against Buzzwole and stuff, and you were able to that made me win the Buzzwole matchup. But anyways, so now it took saying that it took them a week and a half to upload one tournament. When now it's like if it's not up by the time finals is done, everyone's like upset.
Yeah,
So
it's
like
super true.
it was around, but it wasn't as quick. I think I think one it's because the brothers aren't playing as much now, so they have more time.
Yeah, the Limitless guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way, like it's just such a huge asset to the game to have something like this, and it allows them, and especially for like people like me who just like play locals a lot, it allows a basis point to a lot of decks so much faster, especially for people who aren't great at making decks like I am. I'm not great at deck building. It's just not my strength, and
Neither am
so
I.
I love a good net deck and change a couple cards for my playstyle and run. Right, like it's just that's my favorite thing to do. I can play. I have every deck in the format because of that. Like I'm cool with it, and so, um, yeah, Limitless is huge. But like that goes to the same with like how it manipulates the meta in the long term because like there's not going to be a Espathra if Brandon Elbert doesn't do well at both Orlando and EUIC, and Charizard doesn't win twice,
Exactly.
right? And we would never know that stuff going into Sao Paulo if it wasn't for Limitless, right? So it's crazy. It's just absolutely nuts. Anything shocking about this top 16 though? There's one Masquerada, there's one Raging Bolt. Everything else seems pretty normal. Like Dialga's got 3, Miraidon's got 2. Everything else is just the same stuff we've been seeing over and over again.
The biggest thing for me is the lack of control.
Yeah, I think, and this goes
There's
back to the
only
limits
what
list.
one,
There's
two,
technically
two.
there's 3 like 2 in the top 16, but like in day 2 overall, there's 3 Snorlax stalls and 3 Pidgeot controls.
Okay.
And then if
Well,
you
technically there's 3 because the Arceus is the Arceus control deck,
I
but
didn't. It just has
I
unlimited.
consider yeah.
No, if there's
It's just
Arceus control, then I would throw that in there too. But it just
yeah.
shows
So
8 Arceus on the meta share. I haven't
yeah,
looked at the
yeah.
individual yet, which we can pull up now. Are you talking about? That's not the
I
Tina.
think it's the 10th, 11th place list.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I'll pull that up real quick. Yeah.
It plays like a Flutter Mane and high accounts of like.
Yeah, one
And it
Radiant
plays two
Zard,
Ear, two Grabber.
two Mist. Ugh, what a jerk. Who
Yeah.
plays two Mist? That's crap, dude. Two
And it plays a
Mist.
Devo. Yeah. This is like I
This is
remember
a
Braden Elfort at the end of like I want to say it was like right before Charizard came out. He came out with like a control, like he played two Mawwiles and a 1/1 Dialga and a 4/4 Arceus line, and it just basically controlled the format where like you played like two Sharon's Care and is actually a really good deck. I played it for a couple locals and I won them, so it was a cool deck. This is what it reminds me of though.
This is what I lost to, except for the guy I played in that late night a few weeks ago, or
Yeah,
the tournament of Doom, and the guy he played like one Iron Leaves instead of a couple other these cards, but it's basically the same concept.
I think I like the Iron Leaves more than the Radzard.
I think you play both.
Being honest.
The guy I lost to played both. Like, might as well just play both.
Okay.
And then I think this style of deck is easier than Alessandro's top 3 EUIC deck. It's not. There's no Pidgeot in there. There's no craziness. But to answer the original question, like the lack of control is instantly, and I almost guarantee it, because of the Zard matchup is just now bad with all the Turo in play. Like, it's just now terrible. And they, especially if they're playing Yell's Cheer instead of Palpad, which I don't know why people are swapping to Palpad. Because Yell Cheer can't be
It's just
misforced,
better.
but you can't misfortune sister it away. Like, if you're gonna play the two Turo to increase your control matchup, then you play two Rod and a Yell Cheer to get your Pokemon and supporters back. Like, it's just like, it makes more sense if you're that worried about control.
Palpad is better in every matchup except control.
Correct. I 100% agree. But the reason why it was popular is because control was like the deck after Charizard in going into EUIC, right? And now it's just carried over, and a lot of people are just randomly playing Eerie. So like, it also stops them from Eerieing away your Palpad. You just have Team Yell's Cheer instead. You can't Eerie it away. So it's the same concept if like a random deck is playing Eerie against you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's super
like,
cool.
It's definitely due to that, and it's just like, but it still just shocks me because like I would think people, because at least at Orlando, it very much felt like it was like a 50-50 split of like if you were playing like the Tord-esque build or if you were playing like the William-esque build.
The Devos, the Cleffa, the whole
Exactly.
yeah, the Max Belt, right? And it shows, like we talked about it earlier with the A spec choice. Like, that's just the way it turns out. Like, it's just, you're either picking one route or the other now. And I think a lot of people, I mean, we saw it with Liam, right? Like, he literally changed one card and towards 60. Like, there's merit in both decks, but right now I think is the way it is. But we have a new way to play Charizard now. Pedro Pertusi, and his list is very different to both Liam, Tord, and Williams' list, in my opinion. And the main reason for that is, oh my gosh, I got to zoom out even further. It's like 5 lines of text or cards here. He plays Hero's Cape. This is a completely in between build, I guess is the way you could say it. He doesn't play Palpad, doesn't play Team Yell's Cheer, but he's just setting up one big Zard and telling you that you can't knock this out. And it's good against every weak matchup that Charizard has. Like, Lugia has to 2-shot a Charizard, or Minccino has to 2-shot it.
That's
like,
a lot. No, I was gonna say that's a lot of energies to be able to one-shot.
I mean, it's 6. It's 6 energy. So it's
Stuff.
It's 3 turns of double primal turbo to 1 rat for a 1-turn knockout, which is almost impossible. And then you just promote Radzard, take the knockout on the rat. Yeah, this deck list is, I mean, like, I don't know if he played something similar to previous tournaments or not, but like, it's basically towards core Pokemon list Except for he cut one Charmeleon and didn't play Jirachi, so he cut both those cards. He only played one Charmeleon,
Ford only played one Charmeleon.
but he played the Jirachi instead.
Yeah,
This list cut both. He only plays one Charmeleon, no Jirachi. So if he played Lost Box, he probably just lost. I don't know if he did or not, though.
For sure.
Yeah.
It didn't. Lost Box is not a real deck right now.
But it got second. So we're going to talk about that. I don't know. I didn't get to watch the finals in depth yet. But obviously he didn't need both Charmeleons. He beat a generic Lost Zone Box style deck. He literally beat it. It's the one Roaring Moon, one Hoopa, one Raikou, one Iron Hands, Mew Iron Bundle in your Lost Zone package. It's just, there's nothing extravagant about this Lost Zone Box deck that finished second from who's the player? I hit back too many times. From Nicholas Galaz. I don't know how to say his last name. From Nicholas. Sorry for butchering your name, Nicholas. I got to watch game 1 and I watched bits and pieces of it. I had a busy weekend. I'll have to rewatch the whole thing, but obviously the second Charmeleon wasn't a factor. I think he 2-0'd it, if I remember correctly. I don't think it went to a game 3. I had to Google that to make sure I'm right on that. But I think it just shows that, I think Zard is just that deck again. We go back to the point of talking, it's 3 of the top 8 decks.
This is 3 tournaments in a row.
We're getting to Lugia territory real quick here.
No, 4 tournaments in a row.
Yeah,
because it won Perth.
Correct. If you count Perth, it's 4. Confirmed by Twitch chat. He 2-0'd him. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's just I don't know what to do against this deck anymore. I've been praying for the Iron Leaves future box list to get published on Twitter that finished 6th in Indonesia, or the 6th in Singapore, just to have a chance at it. Like I said, I'm bad at deck building. I have a deck constructed, but it just doesn't flow correctly yet, in my opinion. It literally 4th, 3rd, and 1st, and it was literally 3 decks of the top 4 were Charizard. And it's just what is the answer here? Are we waiting for a new set? I don't think anything in this next set really takes it off its throne. Maybe Greninja, because its HP is so high, but everything else in the format literally has 280 HP or less.
The thing is you have to rare candy and then you're 2-shotting. That's the thing, is I don't think it's gonna fix anything.
No, I don't think it is either. You just get your Tyrode again. The only thing that helps it is that Greninja has the snipe attack. Right? Greninja is we can pull up Greninja in our...
Yeah, but you can't even snipe the Charizard.
No, you're sniping. You're going first, rare candy, evolving first, sniping turn 2.
Yeah, but the deck's still playing the Manaphy, so you just prioritize. It's the same thing as you have
to play Canceling Cologne, 100%. I agree.
That seems awful.
But Chen Pal needs more than the Greninja deck. We'll talk about Greninja in the next format because that affects NAIC. A lot more of this format left. We have LA, Indy, and I think there's one more regional in Europe, if I might be wrong in saying that. Oh, Stockholm, Sweden. Stockholm's in this format. Yes. So a lot of this format left to go, but there's got to be, I think there's an answer somewhere in these decks. I think it revolves around every deck just playing Iron Leaves, to be honest. I was scrolling Twitter. Zach Lesage finished top 8.
Iron Leaves doesn't fix it.
I mean, for
because
Moon
you're
it
trading
does,
2
I guess.
for 2.
I get where you're, yeah.
But it makes your deck more inconsistent.
100%. But so did Drapion. Drapion, the random decks versus Mew VMAX are playing too Drapion, right?
But the thing is about the Drapion is you didn't need anything besides a Drapion.
Not any energy. Yeah, it was literally just play.
Yeah, the Leaves you need at least 2 grass energy.
Yeah, most decks I see play 3.
In a Moon, I was about to say, in a Moon deck, you're just making your deck less consistent.
Yeah, it's a trade-off for sure. I wouldn't be shocked if more people start trying to do it, to be honest, because I think in a way, it's the only real answer. I mean, because especially in the decks that are faster, like Moon, or I'm surprised this Lost Box deck that Nicholas played didn't play it. He just still played the consistent thing. But why not make one of these cards Iron Leaves? Because you can just Mirage Gate the energy on. Same way for Hoopa, right? Because
Okay, so you have two guaranteed ways of killing. Well, okay, so their path to winning is like killing. Their path to winning is either Greninja sniping two things,
mm-hmm.
And then going Moon to kill a Zard, and either if they don't get the Greninja snipe, it's Moon into Raikou kill Pidgeot into stack a one prize or on a one prize board, and then going Mew EX for 330 per game.
Yeah. Or
like that's their only route to victory. But you're getting Iono to 2.
Yeah, or
So
you're
you have
hoping to hit the Iron Hands knockout on Pidgeot too. But that's the other
that's
way.
only
That'd be 3 prizes.
but well no, they can't ever amp you for enough.
If you get the spit off first. If you prioritize that knockout hard enough,
That's
you get this.
awful. Though.
Dude, I get it. I don't know what matchup is good against Zard anymore. Every route with every deck seems awful now because it's Ura.
Well, I mean, like, the thing is like, there's like, okay, Lugia has a good matchup into it, and
I agree, but who wants to play?
But
Lugia?
I was gonna say Lugia's Lugia. Lugia's just a bad.
Who wants to play Lugia?
Because I've heard it said 100 times, like, Lugia's the best tech in the format when it sets up, but it only sets up half the time.
Well, and like for example, there was 8 in day 2, and the best finishing one was, I mean, it made the top 8, but I think it lost to Nick, or lost to Pedro on the top 8.
Somebody.
I mean, I finished 8. It lost the first round. I think, and Lugia's matchups against everything else is so tough. It feels like.
Yeah, no, I don't know what else it beats.
Besides Charizard, like, I don't think it beats anything else.
Besides Arceus.
I mean, yeah, it does beat Arceus Tina. Maybe not the Arceus Control, though. I don't think it beats Arceus Control.
That I don't know.
I don't know that one either. Because I feel like you're just going to share and scare and Turo every single time with the Control version that did well.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, like...
There might be a world where, like...
not good. Gardevoir is for sure still not good.
No, Gardevoir just... kills both your Arceus.
I think a regular Lost Box Tina's a good matchup still because they don't have the 2 prizer weakness in Arceus itself.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna get your knockouts, and then you can trade Minchinos for Cramorants or Sableye, and then you can count them with one matchers. Like Charizard is, I feel like Charizard's still not bad though, because like
no,
they still have
Charizard's very winnable.
Because they have the Turos.
I hope they're a little slow.
Yeah, you're hoping they're slow, and they hope you don't miss. That seems like every deck against Charizard.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's the same thing for the Iron Hands matchup, the Turbo Hands matchup against Charizard. Like, you're hoping they miss 2 turns.
I truly don't. I was going to say, I don't think that's winnable.
No, I don't think it is either. But if they miss 2 turns the same way it would miss for Lugia, then you're in the game.
Yeah, but then out of a best 2 out of 3, you're asking them to do that twice.
I agree. I think it's tough, dude. I think we're at the point where Zard's gonna finish 30%. We made it.
Like that's the thing is like I feel like because I have Indy coming up and it's gonna be real hard for me to get off of Zard for Indy just because like I truly don't, because at least when in the Lugia format I felt like I played Reggie's during it and like I felt like Reggie's beat Lugia more times. It was the same logic why Azul's group played Lost Zone Kyogre during that format.
Yeah.
It's like he basically had the same matchup spread versus Lugia as Lugia, but it also 50-50 Lugia. But you don't have to play Lugia mirrors.
Right.
So it's the same concept.
Quick touch on the other 2 Charizards. All of them are slightly similar. Couple people are still playing the Ember Charmander. Do you have a preference in your list? Are you playing the 40 damage Ember in yours? Or is Heat Tackle enough?
So my current list, I'm playing 2/2.
Yeah.
But I think it's correct to play 3 Heat Tackle and 1 of the 70 HP. But it just depends on how much Lost Tina you think you're gonna see. Like
Yeah.
here in Memphis, like at least one of our best players is a very, very good Tina player. So I always respect that to where like I don't want to just auto lose to him if I play him. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
playing a 2-2 split locally, but at like a major, I might just say if I see Tina, I lose, and I'm fine with that.
yeah.
Um,
And then
because if you have a Mander, if you have the 70 HP Mander and the Pidgey down, you're losing both of them anyways.
yeah. And then speaking of Tina, it finished fifth. And it's very basic Tina. One Temple of Sinnoh, one Artisan, the Buddy Poffins. They throw a Spirit Tomb in here. I'm pretty sure the Spirit Tomb was also in the sixth place list from Orlando, which is just, it helps you against Zard. If you can get a down turn one, you're playing Zard, they can't Rotom or Luminion. They have to play Cleffa, which is great
Yeah.
for Sableye.
I think it also just auto wins you the control matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's nothing crazy in here. It's 4 Colress, 2 Roxanne. Like it's this deck is figured out. The 60. They do play one Devo. I think every list plays one Devo now. I don't remember seeing a list not playing Devo. Do you?
In the Tina list?
Yeah.
I've seen some not, but it's mostly like just random lists that I'm
Yeah.
not seeing it. Most of them are playing Devo.
Yeah. And so like I think this is the only deck and potentially Roaring Moon that could survive. We saw Roaring Moon did beat Charizard on stream in Swiss rounds day 2.
I think Chen Pao.
And Chen Pao, yep,
fine.
it's good. But like you said, both those decks, both Roaring Moon and Chen Pao, need so much to go right to keep up with the paces Zard.
Exactly.
But there's no Chen Pao in top 8 or Roaring Moon in top 8. Gardevoir's back, finished 6th. I think 7th. I did do it out of order. No, finished 6th. I'm right. Gardevoir finished 6th. And it's very similar to the list from Orlando and NAIC. I'm not sure the cut. I don't see a collapse stadium in here and only one Turo, which I've been playing the list from Orlando and I feel like that's a mistake, but like obviously the Gardevoir still carried him through. Anything that stands out to you about Gardevoir still, like you mentioned, you bricked with it. It's probably out of your rotation now.
It's not out of my rotation. But definitely like Gardevoir just feels like it's every deck that's not Charizard now. I feel like you just have to high roll to set up. Like the only deck that feels like it sets up consistently is Charizard.
Yeah,
And every other deck is just kind of like a turn behind. And like that's why Charizard just feels so good right now. It's like it's the only deck that feels like I get to play almost every game, and the games I don't get to play, it's due to like no, you're never winning that game.
right,
But every other deck just feels like I just don't get to play Pokemon right now.
right. And I realized here too, they cut the collapse for potentially a second Evo machine compared to the Orlando list. The Orlando list, I know because I just net decked it, was one Evo, one collapse. So that's the only change I noticed right off the bat. I think that's a good change overall. I think you can't cut collapse. I think that's the problem with the change. But like the second Evo does feel nice in case you don't have Arvin in hand.
So the list that I've been playing was playing 2 Evos.
Yeah, I think 2 Evos is necessary. You have to have it because.
So Vinny's brother Gabriel,
Oh, I can pull that up on
his
Twitter.
yeah, I was going to say his list was he cut the Klefki for a second Drifloon, and he cut the third counter catcher for the second Earthen Vessel. And in the games that I've played with the deck, I've missed turn 1 like Evo more times because I've missed the energy than missing the TM Evo. Because like you have a lot of options to hit the Evo. You don't have nearly as many options of getting the vessel.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Yeah, second vessel is nice. I have the list pulled up on stream here now. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and he won seniors. He's champion again, as we mentioned prior to stream. So congrats to Gabriel. PokeStats real quick, get that back up. And then RC
Give
is
me a minute.
RC
ages
is
up.
yeah, bro, he's gonna be crazy. RC is Tina. Finished 7th with Lucas. And this list is again just a standard. I'm gonna judge, and Arceus judge Tina, judge Iron Leafs, and hopefully slow you down enough. I think the interesting part, and I don't remember if this is true with every list, but it's playing 3 lost cities. I think that's super cool because it takes away the ability to rod back the Zard, right? It's a big thing too. Is like there's so much Pokemon recovery and search out of the deck. Well, you can't do that if it's in the lost zone. So I think it's the biggest thing with that is that specific matchup, and then like I think that helps its Ancient Box matchup because
It
Ancient
helps a
Box,
lot of
yeah,
matchups.
Ancient Box hates cards in the lost zone, right? Um, it definitely
So
negates the
the
effect of the
person
trade.
that came up with the Arceus Tina list with the 3 lost cities was someone named Joe Thurmaton, I think is what his name is. It's Joe Mama TCG on Twitter. He like went in depth about the 3 lost city, and the biggest reason for the 3 lost city was the Chien-Pao matchup. To where like so
You just
most
boss down
Chien-Paos are
Excalibur.
you just kill 2 Chien-Paos and you win.
Oh, because they have nothing else.
Because
That works too.
they're only playing two Baxes. So you kill 2 Baxes and you win.
Yeah, or even the vice versa. You kill both Chen Pao in the lost zone.
Well, I've seen a lot of lists go up to 3 Chien-Paos now. That's why I said.
Oh, sure. If they're
Yeah.
doing that, because Iron Hands isn't
It's
getting there,
like yeah. Well, yeah.
and Chen Pao at
Um,
least. Yeah, and then Lugia Archeops first top 8, finishing 8th. I'm not sure if it was on Resistance or whatever, but this is very similar to the Japan list, right? The one Serena, the one Jock, the Master Ball, 4 Research, 4 Iono, 3 Boss. Like it's very generic Lugia. I think again this list is figured out, right? It's just can it set up or not because there's so many 4-ofs, which is like, oh hey, consistency is a problem with this deck. Like I
so
don't know
this
how you
list
make
is a
it more
little
consistent.
different.
What's different about it?
So it's different from that list because it's playing both a 4 Mencino and 4 Lugia, and it's playing a lower Great Ball count.
Oh, that is true. Just playing more Pokemon instead of the higher Great Ball
Yeah,
count. Because I think
and it's
the 3, it was
I
three
think that
three for
list was
both,
playing.
right?
I think it was 4-4. The list that I saw was 4-4-4 with 1 Master Ball, and I think the 3 cuts or no, it was 3. It was 3-3.
Yeah,
You
it's
were
3
right.
Lugia, 3 Minccino, and then the higher Great Ball count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second Luminion.
Oh, I didn't
Because
even
the
notice. Yeah,
Japanese list only played 1,
correct.
so
I remember
that's
that.
the big one.
Yeah, second
And the Japanese
Lemonion.
list played 2 collapse, so that's only playing 1.
Yeah, I guess that's true too, huh?
Not a
Because
ton. It's not a ton of changes.
it's the
But it's
same base
small
point.
things.
I
Yeah, it's
think.
the same base point.
I don't like the Collapse Stadium cut because like Collapse Stadium away your Lugia or Luminion is so big. But top 8, first Lugia top 8 in this format in the West, and then it won Japan. So, I mean, maybe something's on the verge of it, but I don't think I'm touching this deck anytime soon.
I'm not either, but I think this is the deck that if some good group played this and just like shoved their head into a wall, I think this could win a regional over here.
With how much Charizard there is, yeah. They just high roll the event.
You just high roll the
Play
event.
15
You dodge the
Charizards.
Iron Hands. I was
Yep.
about to say if you dodge Iron Hands, because I think this deck does have good matchup. Like the thing is like when this deck sets up, I think it can beat anything. But then if this sets up like if you Ultra Ball away 2 Archeops going first, and then turn 2 you go Lugia V-Star and you go off with 2 Minccino set up, there's not a single deck in the room that beating you
Yeah.
consistently.
I still don't like its matchup against Ancient Box if they're not playing any kind of disruption like that. Because the answer is a single prizer stack. As long as they can keep chipping away and then get the 2 prizer into Lugia, then it's tough. But you're right. I think if it sets up, most decks are very, very good or very, very bad into a fully set up Lugia board. I think it does have a struggle with single price decks because like you only have so many Minchinos and Sinnoh, and then once you're done trading 4 for 4, right? In theory, then you're hopefully doing enough damage with Baby Moon or even a Mooney X, depending on the deck, to knock out your last Lugia V Star, as long as they don't collapse it away. But yeah, it's Lugia. There's nothing secret about it. It's just it's classic Lugia, set up or die kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we talked about his path a little bit. My favorite deck almost made it. Almost made it. We finished 10th. And that is Roaring Moon EX to Dunsparce. And he didn't change a whole lot. He's sticking with the 2 Rod, 2 Roaring Moon EX just so you don't start it as much. But it's the 1 penny. It's the 3 trekking shoes. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, that was the only cut. He doesn't put the Temple of Sinnoh. Which versus Charizard, if it's the same player I'm thinking of. Charizard was playing Mist, and I think it was earlier in the day he lost to Pedro Pertusi because he had Cape. But this list also beat a Charizard with Cape and Mist. Or no, they didn't have Cape. They just played Mist, and he 2-shot it. So he hit it once with the Baby Moon. The Zard player did not Toro it up, and he then did 220 to finish off the Zard. And then he pennied up the Roaring Mooney X after they couldn't hit 290 with a capsule on it. So there is routes with this list of beating Charizard. I still think it's very, very difficult, but I think it's the most fun deck in the format to play. There's nothing cooler than playing Dunsparces and
I did
Dragons.
play a couple games with the deck this weekend.
And what'd you think? Let's hear about it. Are you a hater still?
No, I mean, like, the
He
deck
is.
feels... So, the games that I played against it, I played 2 games against Shin Pao, and then I played 2 games against Pidgeot Control.
Yeah.
And against Shin Pao, it just auto beats it. I don't feel like I truly don't know how you can lose that matchup.
Yeah, Roaring Moon just dominates Shinpao because 220 is such an easy number to hit with, what is it, technically, it's 2, 10, 14, 18 ancient cards, not counting the Baby Moons. So if you could...
Well, so even the fact that... So I went, like... So there was one game where I just went... Basically, if they put up a Chin Pao, I killed it with the Big Moon with a capsule. Which that game I just drew like fire.
Yeah, and stadium and play, hit 220, don't damage yourself.
Yep. Exactly. And 290 is just... It's not that hard for them to hit.
That's 5 energies.
But it just makes them... Yeah, it's 5 energies, which just is a lot of commitment when you... Where there's a chance you're going to have to go through 4 1-prizers later.
Correct. And like that's a superior energy retrieval plus Shivery Chill
attachment. Yep.
And attachment, or whatever way you want to call it. Yeah, I'm currently testing out the Mawile in here, and then I switched out the Ultra Ball Nest Ball count back to 3-3, and then that way I can play 4 stadiums. So it's 2 shoes, 1 Temple of Sinnoh. Or no, I'm not playing Temple of Sinnoh anymore. I just swapped out the shoe for the Mawile. So it's 2 shoes, 3 ball, 2 rod. The 2 Roaring Moon EX feels good. I was scared it was going to affect your ancient number cards a lot. And the more I play the deck with Mawile, the more it feels worse because like you already cut the Roaring Moon EX to have 1 less bad starter, and then you're putting 1 back in to play the Mawile. But it does feel nice having an answer, or there's more outs to getting Mawile into your hand than getting Temple of Sinnoh into hand, right? That's why you play the 3 Ultra Ball. So that was kind of the reason behind it. We mentioned earlier, I think it was Zach Lesage played Iron Leaves in here at a cup this weekend to finish top 8. Or maybe it was top 4. But he cut basically the shoes to play Iron Leaves in there. And then he made a couple switches, like he played a 4th Dunsparce in there. And then kind of small changes like that, which like increase consistency but also hurt it. Because like having a fourth Dunsparce is not Dunsparce. Having a fourth Dunsparce is super nice because you almost guarantee start it if you're playing four. And so I like those changes. I don't know if I like leaves in there yet or not, if it's consistent enough. But what that does do, it eliminates the Radzard turn. So you can Sada's the two grass energy into play after concealing cards or earth investing them away. And then it eliminates the slower paced Radzard turn because they have to do it either earlier or save it for the end of the game. And by that time, you have already taken your 6 prizes, if that makes sense. Really good in concept. I don't have it built yet on live, but I understand the thought process, right? Because you're thinking, oh, hey, one knockout with a Baby Moon early, and then you set up a Zard. I'm going to Sada once Iron Leaves for knockout 2, and then you're hoping Roaring Moon EX can get the last 3 prizes, whether that's the Baby Moon and then one Big Moon, because they still can't hit 290 when you're at 3. So you would think that you could get it over the line there. And then you still have the Pidgeot knockout as an option as well to get 2 prizes in there as well. So it's just one less Zard knockout you have to take. And normally that Zard knockout is the 2-shot knockout. So that's what kind of it replaces. So like we talked about the 10th place list versus Charizard on the stream, it removes that penny turn that he had to take to survive. It just like, oh, hey, it's Iron Leaves instead. And then you have to respond to Iron Leaves or I'm going to retreat and boss something up for knockout. So really good in theory. I'm going to test it out this week, hopefully, and maybe it'll make my cup list on Sunday. And we'll see. I'm not sure, to be honest. And then that's his pile throw. We already talked about it. And then the last deck we wanted to talk about was the top 32 Arceus Armarouge list. It's back. I'm surprised to see it. Like, again, really good in concept. I think it's got good matchups across the board, but it's an Arceus deck. If you don't get turn 1 attach, you struggle. Any thoughts on this?
So this list is very similar to like where my group kind of landed for Arc Armor when we were testing it before Orlando. And the reason we put it down was it has an awful Lugia matchup, like not winnable Lugia matchup.
Yeah.
And its Charizard matchup when they have Max Belt is not good.
Now, did you ever play it with Max, or did you ever play it with Bravery Charm or Ancient Booster Capsule?
Huh?
Well, like you're talking about the Charizard and Lugia matchup being awful. The previous answer I've seen online is you have a Gouging Fire with 280 or 290 HP with the Capsule or Bravery Charm, plus the Heatran.
Lugia is still just killing it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but it's just the one way to kind of fix it. And like obviously you can't get to put the choice belt on there, but that damage from Magma Basin makes it a 2-shot for a 1-shot for Lugia on the Gouging Fire.
No, so you're never magma basing to Gouging Fire.
I mean, hey, sometimes you can do what you gotta do. How was
you're
you
magma
approach it?
basing to you're magma basing to your Armor
Yeah, and you accelerate
to the
it out.
Armor
Yeah,
that moves.
I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
that's what you did.
It's whatever.
So but yeah, so like the list is very similar to what we had. We had the 1/1 Beverly there at one time, and we were finagling it. The capturing aromas are a little funky, but I don't hate them. It allows you to be able to see a turn 1 Arceus more often, and like you don't really care what you flip late because you either see another Arceus V-Star or you see another Gouging Fire or Delphox. The Squawk ability is a little weird in it. I don't hate it.
I love the Billy. Billy's cool.
It's just weird in this deck because like I understand it because like almost everything is recoverable besides like Maxwell and First World.
Right.
But like honestly, this is probably the way that you have to play this style of deck now.
Yeah,
So I might give this a try again.
I'm never just I some people feel this way about Lugia, it's like they'll never play Lugia again because of how it was. I feel this way about Arceus decks. For the simple fact of it's just like it was 3 years ago. Like, it's the same way I didn't play Mew. Like I just wish there was a better card to play right now, which is Zard at the moment, which I don't want to play that either.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's just Arceus. Like it's not good, it's not great. It's here, and I don't know how to else to feel about it. Like that's just part of it.
Yeah, I mean, Arceus has been around forever, but like, there's a there's a reason it was the poster. Like, but remember Pikarom? It's receiving the same Pikarom treatment.
But Pikarom
Where
wasn't. I mean, like,
like
but Pikarom
it's
had answers 2 formats after. You know what I mean?
Pikarom was one of the top 3 decks through its entire life.
I agree, but like, it seems like Pikarom kept up. It seems like Arceus doesn't keep up, but people are still playing it. Does that make sense? Like,
I
because
mean, I feel like Arctina is one of the better decks right now
yeah, I mean,
because it has a good Charizard matchup. Not because of any other reason, just because the one fact it has a good Charizard matchup.
yeah, that is. You're not wrong. I don't know, just something about it bugs me in a way
No,
that I
I
can't
agree.
explain.
The
Yeah,
deck's not fun to play because like this deck you can recover from from missing turn 1 if you set up Charcadets. If you set up a Charcadet turn 1 and you miss turn 1 energy attachment, you can Magma Base and do that and you're fine.
yeah,
But all other decks, if you miss turn 1 energy attachment, you've already lost.
yeah. That is true. It is that is the tough one for it. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Oh, that's what I'm looking for is Pokestats. That's why I turned the thing off. There was one more tournament that had some spice to it, and that's in Indonesia. Here we go. Figured it out. Window capture. Here's the top 16. We found out the 16th deck is Roaring Moon to Dunsparce. But Ancient Box taking down the whole thing, and only 3 Charizards still in the top 8. I don't know the meta breakdown. We only have the top 16 decks, but there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Charizards in the top 16. But Ancient Box won the whole thing. I'm not sure how similar it is to Jake's list from Orlando. But hey, something else besides, it seems like it's only in maybe, I hate to say major, but bigger regions. Charizard's dominating at the higher level, or maybe Christian just outscaled everybody. But like we have Ancient Box, Gardevoir, Arceus, Vulpix. I'm assuming Raymond's list is Sablezard type, or else they'd put Giratina on there, or maybe it's just Lost Zone Box.
I was gonna say it's probably just Lost on Box.
But the big standout here is Gholdengo Palkia in 6th, and that's where the title comes from. I think this is a super cool deck. Not sure why it never translated to our format. It had a decent Charizard matchup if they're not playing Maximum Belt. And even if they are playing Maximum Belt, you just prioritize Palkia in a best of 3 format. Then once the Maximum Belt's gone, you can safely play the Gholdengo route. But maybe that's too late because they're already hitting more than 260. What are your thoughts on Gholdengo Palkia? Have you played it at all in this format?
Not this format. I've never been a big Gholdengo fan, just because like
I love Cheesehead.
no, I love the concept of the Pokemon and the card,
Yeah, that card's busted.
but it just feels like a bad Chien-Pao. That's how it's always felt.
Yeah, I think Chien-Pao's cooler because you get to attach the cards and refill your hand with a barrel. You have to have all the energy in hand, which for some reason seems harder than attaching them all, which doesn't make any sense, right? It's just the base concept of the deck. It's a much easier to get energy to hand than energy on board. which still like in just theory, right? Like it's just easier to get energy in hand. So why never did better than Chen Pao, I couldn't tell you, but it just feels worse for whatever reason. And like you said, like it just doesn't make sense because like in the Chen Pao deck, your energy support engine is a second Pokemon. In this deck, your draw engine and attacker is the same Pokemon, which in theory is easier to set up.
So I heard, I think it was on Tag Team Podcast. They were talking about it, and it made a lot of sense. So last format with Guard of War, your attacker and your draw engine were the same Pokemon. So when you attacked with it, you knew it was going to get knocked out. So eventually you're like whittling away your draw engine because
Yeah.
you were attacking with it. And then late game Ionos can stick sometimes because your draw engine is knocked out because you were attacking with them. And
Yeah.
it's a similar concept with Gholdengo, where it's like you're attacking with your draw engine. So at some point, it could get to a point where you run out of your draw engine because you had to attack with all of them.
Yeah, I think only the most lists only play the one rod. Maybe it's two. But you're right. Without having both the Gimme Ghoul down prior to getting your Goldengo knocked out, it's hard to get the engine back on board in a way. Um, so I could see where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, and also like this format is so much harder to get to the Palkia and the Greninja turn one.
Yeah.
Because of the like this is one of the few decks that I feel like got significantly worse due to VIP Pass being gone.
Yeah.
Like of course every deck got worse, but this deck you have to set up Greninja and Palkia turn one, or you're like so far behind.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is Goldengo's got a terrible single prizer matchup.
Yeah.
Same with Chen Pao, right? But like any single prize deck, Ancient Box, Roaring Moon, any others that may come up in the future, like it's just tough for them to consistently get 3 energy. It's easy for them to get 5 energy one turn and then maybe relax for a turn and then take another big knockout later. But like the constant resources needed to refill your hand does not work against single prizers because there's no great way to get your trainers back in your deck.
Yeah.
Like maybe you
and
play,
like
yeah,
like that's the thing is like last format the only single prize decks were really besides Guard of War, which this had an awful Guard of War matchup if they didn't get the canceling cologne combo.
yeah,
And was Lost Box. Those were like the two like
yeah.
one prize matchups last
Sableye
format.
killed this deck.
Yeah. Sometimes if they didn't fully evolve up.
Yeah, but like even if they don't fully evolve up, I think they would need, like you said, Greninja, Palkia, Goldengo, Jirachi, and Manaphy. Like that only allows you room for potentially 2 to 3 gimme ghouls, but you have to cut one of those spots on your bench at that time. But to survive a Lost Box matchup, you really need all 5. And then Devo.
You don't need Jirachi right away.
Yeah, I guess you don't need it right away, as long as you can see evolve up fast enough.
Yeah.
And then then Devo kills this deck.
I don't think Devo kills this deck as much as you think.
I hated it.
Well, I mean, against Lost Box, I could see that. But...
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. And then all the Devo for Zardow also affects you as well. But I get what you're saying. Like, Devo doesn't affect it as hard as it can. But if you're playing against a Lost Box or a single prize deck or even a Charizard who can't one-shot all your Goldengos, but they can boss 3 Goldengos, then De-Evolution and Eerie, that seems tough. Eerie also makes his deck super hard to play. Same thing with Chimpao.
Yes.
Eerie makes it almost impossible because like at least Chimpao can get the energies on board from just getting them in hand. But like as long as you Eerie the right turn, Gholdengo just can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the other biggest. So now that you brought that up, the reason I think Chen Pao is just better than it is because Chen Pao has an easier way of getting the energies to hand due to Chen Pao just getting the energies to hand. When Gholdengo, you have to play an Earthen Vessel to get them to hand like generically like that.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts with the format before we talk about some new cards that were revealed from the weekend?
I feel like you either play Charizard or you play something that has good matchup into it. Those are your choices.
You play Roaring Moon is the correct answer. Roaring Moon wins the hearts and minds of us all. Let me scroll down here. We are on Tony Lane's Twitter. I gotta go far enough to the bottom here. Nope, Tatsugiri's old. We talked about Tatsugiri. But we had a couple new cards come out. Let's see here. Desktop. Boom. Okay. Sick. So, main card that people are all hyped up about. Not sure if it's good or bad or whatever, but everyone is saying this is the new Lugia answer. I don't see how it is because it requires so much. But Secret Box, the new A spec that will be in Twilight Masquerade. Discard 3 cards from your hand in order to use this card. Search your deck for 1 item, 1 Pokemon tool, 1 supporter, and 1 stadium. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck.
So didn't that get redone?
This is
pretty sure that's not. Pretty sure that's not the correct translation.
This is the 18th. Let me confirm with Justin Basil. Because I think
so. I saw something that it said you just get to choose one of them.
Justin Basil. If that's the case, then it's a terrible card.
Yes.
What's next? Upcoming releases: Twilight Masquerade card translations. To the very bottom. Unfair stamp. Now, Justin Basil has it the same. Search your deck for an item card, a Pokemon tool card, a supporter card, and a stadium card. Reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. So it is all 3, or I guess 4. 4 in the scenario. No, you're fine. I get it. We want to make sure it's right. Japan does have the cooler release schedule, and we all are jealous of them. But that does mean we are translating and trying to figure out what they mean in real time. But yeah, Secret Box.
This card's actually playable then.
It's better than Master Ball. I'll tell you that much right now. It's way better than Master Ball. I don't know if it's the answer to Lugia's prayers. But I mean, hey, if you can discard 2 Archeops out of your hand, or you can grab Jock and Ultra Ball off of this card and potentially a stadium and then the supporter for next turn.
I was about to say it's just Jock Ultra Ball. If you can get Jock Ultra Ball, you're fine.
I don't know what else you'd play this in. Maybe you play this instead of Ancient Drum. Discard 3 Ancient cards from your hand and then get whatever you need from your deck.
Doesn't seem great.
Doesn't seem great either. I mean, overall, and like I saw this on Azul's stream or somewhere over the weekend. It seems like they didn't want to directly reprint computer search, so they made it more difficult to pull off by discarding 3 cards, but you can get whatever you want still, right?
So you want to know the funny thing about this is I think this is another A spec that Charizard just can use.
I think it is too.
Bro, like just okay, so like you tell me I can grab Rare Candy, Force Seal Stone, Arven, and Collapse Stadium to get rid of the Rotom on my discard.
After I use the Force Seal Stone.
So that means I'm just gonna Rare Candy Pidgeot, Rare Candy Zard like every single time.
Yeah, like, you never miss.
I don't know if this is better than Prime Catcher.
I don't think so, but it's definitely a choice. So either. It's definitely a choice.
It's legit. Just like if you're playing a best of 1 and you just want to guarantee like the Candy Pidgeot, Candy Charizard turn, like this is like a legit like easier way to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can find literally every piece. You don't need to play Cleffa. You can just play Secret Box. Cleffa is nice to refill the hand, but you're just looking to
or you play this in combination with the Clef.
Or you play this instead of Rotom. because you're literally hoping off your Rotom to hit one of those two pieces to then
Well, you
get the
still
extra
need
pieces.
you still need a good Force Seal Stone target. That's the thing.
Pidgeotto removes itself from the bench. I get it. But if you're guaranteeing search, and you're guaranteeing cards, why need to draw 3? If you're gonna play it in Charizard, right?
Because you still need it going first. That's the thing.
You can play this Ice Foot going first.
Yeah, but then you can't use it to the full capacity.
You can,
What are you discarding for it? Like that's the thing.
or whatever. You can get Buddy Buddy Poffin and the tools, and you can get Buddy Buddy Poffin and Evo off of this card still.
Okay, if you're playing Evo in a Charizard deck, you're bad.
Hey, watch out. Might be Charizard Mirror's coming up. Be careful. 40%. Might need Evo. I'm not a Charizard expert. I can't tell you if it's good or bad. But there's not a
Really
single there's not a single Evo in any of the winning lists.
No.
Not a single one. There's not a single one. And then the next one I'm not happy about. But Control's back. I'm not sure how it's gonna work. But Luxray EX is back in control again. I guess Luxray itself is back in control. Look at your opponent's hand and discard one card you find there for 2 colorless energies. This also does 100 damage when you attach a DTE.
It's also a stage 2.
Also a stage 2. But DTE, 120, it does damage. It's a control card that finally does damage. I understand it's a stage 2. But this is Luxray V just upgraded. And obviously it's stage 2, it's harder. In the Pidgeot control version, you're already playing rare candies, right? Like I understand the concept behind the thought of this card. I hate control with a passion. And so I'm not a fan of the Luxray EX. But 310 HP, bro. Imagine a Hero's Cape on this in the active. And they just turo it up and they got an extra one waiting on the bench there. And then they can just keep the cycle going while they slowly chip away at you. It's just not a great thought. I don't like it whatsoever. And then Handy Fan. Whenever the active Pokemon this card is attached to takes damage from your opponent's attack, move an energy from that attacking Pokemon to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. We've seen cards like this before. There used to be a helmet that discarded an energy. We see Bouffalant being played now to Lost Zone energies attached to your opponent's active. This is another control card that just makes it weird to play against. It can obviously get Lost Vacuumed away, but whenever you move an energy off of a Charizard to something that's not relevant, like Illuminion or Cleffa or whatever, or Rotom, it's not fun for a Charizard player. I don't think it fixes any matchups for control against Charizard, but it's just one of those cards that control could potentially utilize in those said matchups. Any thoughts on the fan?
I think it'll get played in the same aspect of like how Fan of Waves got played. It's all play here and there, but
yeah,
it's not.
I wish we had Fan of Waves now. I do. Fan of Waves is cool. And then we have Kilowattrel.
So.
Oh, we also get a Hand Hammer. That is cool. Kilowattrel EX is the gym promo. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon for 1 lightning. If you do, attach up to 2 basic lightning energies from your hand to this Pokemon. It's a stage 1, 260 HP. And then Thunder Lance. This does 40 damage for each lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. I don't think it'll be game breaking, but Lugia now has another card it doesn't like. So there's that. You can also play it. You can't play it in Wings of Union, but I hope that deck one day is good. It probably won't be, but Wings of Union is sick. Here's the interesting one I thought was super interesting. Have you seen the Scrafty card yet?
No.
Hold on, I click the image instead of the tweet. Search your deck for up to as many cards as the number of your bench Pokemon. Put those cards into your hand, then shuffle your deck for 1 colorless energy. This will be a new control deck. You have 5 bench Pokemon on your bench. Search your deck for 5 cards. Put them in your hand.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's other Scrafty and Scraggy, and it's a mistranslation. But as of right now, it just says, hey, 5 bench Pokemon, 5 cards. Like, that's crazy. You can get any 5 cards you want. Like, it just seems this is such a control-heavy set at this point. These are all coming out in Twilight Masquerade, and so it's interesting.
Wait, so you're talking about the Scrafty,
Yeah,
right?
it's crafty, yeah.
Search your deck for up to as many cards as your bench Pokemon. I mean, you just have to play higher Iono counts, like disruption counts.
Yeah, you can. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, maybe. If you're Ioning every turn, then you're going to miss some pieces, which is what Control wants you to do.
Yeah. I just don't see what 5 cards they can do to really like mess you up.
It brings the hammers back. Hammers and fans and even their own judge, right, for next turn.
It searches your deck.
Mm-hmm. And then you can play all those cards next turn.
Okay. I thought you said it brings them back.
No. You search your deck for those 5 cards and you put them into your hand. Yep. So you basically control your opponent's board, even like Erica's Invitation or Eerie or whatever. And then you can just keep doing that turn after turn after turn. And then, or do even Gutsy Pickaxe, bring it back, and then they mill with Gutsy Pickaxe every turn, plus Eerie's and all that stuff. Like, there's just random things that card will be able to do. Well, so anyone who's a mastermind deck builder will find a way to make Scrafty good. And this one is just the worst Pokegear, I think, except for it puts them on the bottom of it. So we're talking about Roto Stick. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may choose any number of supporter cards you find there, reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your other cards back into your deck. I read that wrong. I thought it was bottom, but it's just I can see why people think it's better or worse than Gear, because you can grab 3 supporters if it is 3 supporters, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely an interesting new card. Any thoughts on the stick?
No, I mean it's.
I think Tatsugiri is just better.
There are 2 cards that came out that you didn't say. But yeah.
I'm on. Which one are we talking about here?
So there's the Legacy Energy.
Oh, that's further down. I was just going from the weekend's reviews. We can go down. Yeah, Legacy Energy. That's the one that takes less prize, right?
Yeah. So it counts as a Rainbow Energy. I think this is what Lugia is gonna play now.
And then this is the same release as the Scoop Up Cyclone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Scoop Up Cyclone is a reprint coming back. This is back from Black and White, back when ASX were originally printed. I'm glad that card's coming back. I think it's a cool card. It's a very cool card. I'm not sure how it's going to use it now. I pulled
mine out of bulk the other day.
We'll do the Blissey then. Real quick, I'm just going top to bottom to down then. Blissey, once during your turn, you may move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another Pokemon. We've seen this draw/energy moving type of idea for a while, but the attack is pretty cool. It's return for 3 colorless, and then you draw up to 6 cards in your hand. So that's pretty nuts.
And I'm pretty sure the Chansey's good. I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure the Chansey's actually decent too.
We have another Drifloom-esque task in Glalie. It's 20 more damage for each damage card already on your opponent's active Pokemon instead of yourself. So that's kind of cool. Is the Frostlass good?
Well, the Frostlass combos with the Glalie.
Yeah, the Frostlass does combo with the Glalie. During your Pokemon, you got to put 1 damage counter on each Pokemon in play, yours and your opponent's, except for Frostlass. So that's cool. We've seen that with like Orbeetle, VMAX, and whatnot. So but that Orbeetle was into the active, right?
I believe so.
Weezing was a really popular card that did that.
Yep.
We talked about it last pod, but the Tatsugiri was in this reveal. Search your top 6 cards for your deck for a supporter card and put it into your hand. Stellar Fish. I can't wait to Stellar Fish. Conkeldurr's got the Guts attack, 250. It can use its attack even if it doesn't have any energy. Oh, that's actually super cool. If this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it can use its attack with no energy. It doesn't have the necessary energy attached.
You can do 250 for free if you have the Brute Bonnet.
Brute Bonnet, too bad. Spicy Season Curry went away. It is a stage 2 though, but definitely cool deck. Clefable, Metronome is back. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon's actives a Pokemon's attack and use it as your attack. So that's always good. Mew's very good card now. It has a draw engine, but this is just that, but simplified on a stage 1. I don't think the tower is gonna do anything cool. Jamming Tower.
I think Jamming Tower is actually pretty good.
Pokemon tools attached to Pokemon in play. Both yours and your opponents have no effects. Moon hates this card. Zard doesn't care for this card. If you're playing the
turn 1 against Zard,
I mean, I'm assuming Zard still plays Belt and Cape. I think it'll be Prime Catcher only. That is true.
Well, no. I'm talking about Forest Heelstone. Like, there's a lot of turns where your Forest Heelstone like allows you to play the game.
Yeah, Forest Heelstone would be inactive. You're right. I totally forgot about Forest Heelstone.
I think this is like, and this hurts control. This is like an anti-control card in my opinion.
And the biggest one, Gardevoir, would be gone off the face of the earth.
Gardevoir is dead.
Like, Gardevoir would be
dead.
Gone. Yeah. Absolutely worthless. Is the Reverie any good?
I think that's the last good card.
Reverie or the tower?
No, the tower.
But we didn't see the energy though. Energy's not here yet. There's a Brute Bonnet.
Must be way
there's a new bundle. The Festival Plaza stuff. That seems bad. Oh, what's this? The Performance Flutes. Once your opponent reveals the top cards of their deck, put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench. Your opponent then shuffles the other cards into their deck. So, Echoing Horn is back, but from the top of the deck. And it's an item too. God, man, why
the thing is like they keep printing all these control cards, but you can only fit 60 Pokemon cards in their deck.
Yeah, they don't play any energy, bro. You can cut all of them. They just...
But then you're like, how are you getting your Pokemon? Like that's the thing is like eventually like you're not gonna be able to play like high counts of all of these. Like you're gonna be playing one and then hope it hits.
Well, I hate to burst the bubble here, but there's a card in the format right now.
Yeah, I mean, Silene.
No, even worse. I could search out any one card at once at any time.
Yeah, the Pidgeot.
Yeah, so it can literally pick whatever card at once.
How thick of a rare candy Pidgeot line are you playing?
I mean,
right now it's a 2/2.
Yeah, I mean that's all you need.
2/2.
I mean, they got third at EUIC, and all it needs is 2/2. Right? I mean, in theory.
Well, what I'm saying is like they're not going to be able to include all of these cards.
No, they're not. But I don't think they're going to play Fan. I don't think Fan will be needed. But like now, they don't have to play Temple. They could just play the Jammer card.
Yeah. Oh no, they can't play the Jammer because then they turn off their own stuff.
Yeah,
they have to play. They have to play the Temple for Lugia.
Yeah, they couldn't.
For Lugia and
Yeah. And then this is we talk about it now. This is we mentioned a little bit previous. This is my favorite new deck. I think it's my favorite deck to play at NAIC. I think Brock has less hopes for it than I do. But Dracloak and Dragapult are back. The reason why Dragapult is good is because it has, I can't even say that.
Airmail.
It has airmail. What's Reckonance Mission?
I don't know.
Right, bro. It has airmail. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them in your hand, and the rest in the bottom. This is just a better flower selecting because you don't have to be in the active, and you could pick the card you want and then put the other one back in your deck for later. And then the attacker is sick. Dragapult EX, 200 damage, put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon any way you like. I love this deck. I do. I do. I know Turo's good. But Charizard's not hitting 320 until I am down to 1 prize card left. So we're going to Turo battle for days. I could Turo up my Dragapult, put it back down on my airmail one, re-bench the Dreepy. We can do this all day. And then we're just going to keep sniping stuff off the bench. And we mentioned it in the previous pod. Jirachi does not stop the 6 damage counters. Only the Ragan... What's the dung beetle,
Rascal or
the dung, yeah, the stage 1,
the dung beetle,
the dung beetle. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can't think of its name. Gosh, it literally rolls around on a ball of dung.
That's its pre-evolution. The other one's like basically a scarab lord.
But it still has a a ball of
I don't
dung,
think
though.
I don't think so. Repska.
Isn't there still a ball of dung?
I don't know.
And this is the card Brock alluded to is Legacy Energy. While it's attached to a Pokemon, this card provides one energy of any type. When this Pokemon card is attached to it, it is knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack. They take one fewer prize card. Only apply this effect of your Legacy Energy once per game. So you can't recycle it and reuse it. But now Lugia can accelerate this to an Iron Hands and amp you very much, and then you can only respond with a one prize knockout, which is insane. I do think this replaces Master Ball. He said Rapska. It has an energy orb. Pokemon card IO. Rapska. This guy. Yes. It is bro, it's a ball of dung. Energy core, it's a ball of dung. Prevent all damage and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to your bench Pokemon. Yeah, but like if this becomes the answer, I still think it's too slow. If I rare candy and get attack off, I can snipe the Rellor, and then you just can't evolve because it's 6 damage. It's 6 damage. It knocks out every Heat Tackle Charmander, knocks out every Frigibax that's not the collect or the 2 retreat one. I guess they both have 2 retreat. But every good basic that's currently being played, Dunsparce, Charmander, Frigibax, those 68, even like Manaphy, you could just 2-shot a Manaphy. Is it anywhere you like? Put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. That is disgusting. You could literally do half of a Lost Mine every turn. Yeah, I think Dragapult EX is going to need some serious testing. I think it's one of those decks, though, where NAIC is too early, but Worlds might be where we see this card play a real impact. I'm not sure how we're accelerating energy yet.
What is it? Psychic energy?
Psychic fire. 1 psychic, 1 fire. Because it's the Dragon Terra type.
Could be like Luminous and like an Armarouge.
Could be Luminous Armarouge. It could be the Mela.
With Magma based one. Yeah, but then you can just play around it.
I agree.
By not taking a knockout.
Or you could do it with Zatu as well. And just play a couple fire. Couple Earthen Vessels. There's multiple ways this could work.
I'd rather play the Luminous. I think the Luminous plus whatever your basic accelerator is.
Yeah, I think the Luminous will be the easiest way.
We're not attacking turn 1, so it's like you don't have to be like Turbo with it.
You're never attacking turn 1 with it, and then you can airmail for the energy. And Earthen Vessel is in play, so you could literally play a 4-4 split. Because with Enhanced Hammerback, I might be reluctant to do the Luminous.
I don't think Enhanced is going to see a ton.
I don't think it is either, but if Mist keeps building up and play like it is, then I think some decks will be playing.
Dunsparce is going to play a couple Enhanced Hammers.
I don't know if it'll be a couple, but I agree. I think it's better. It's better than playing Temple. I'd rather play 3rd Artisan than Temple and play 1 Hammer. I agree completely. But this deck also just wipes off Moon from the planet. It does. I think it does. I think it wipes Moon off the board. You're literally you knock out a Baby Moon with Capsule, and then you could put the extra 3 damage counters on 1 Roaring Moon for a 3 price turn. I think it literally just knocks Moon off the planet, unfortunately, because that's devastating. If I pull that 1 turn off of any game, and then they're never hitting 320 ever.
Besides with the gouging.
Besides with gouging, and then I'm going to respond with 30 damage on your, or I can even do 60 and set up the knockout with Capsule the previous turn, because I could just, obviously I'm not having 2 big Moon in play on board if you're a good Moon player, but if you have to have 2 Moon down, I could just put all 6 on your second Roaring Moon EX and then they're not playing any heal cards or switch cards. So there's going to be adjustments to it, but I think Dragapult is going to terrorize the format, especially with. I think it's. I don't know if it's favorable or not, but the fact that I can hit 200 into a Zard and then knock out the Charmander or Pidgey on the bench or Bidoof is massive. And this is going to need a lot of testing and a lot of theorizing. But if I can rare candy and have both energies attached, turn 2 going first, I can.
You might build the deck how kind of like how you build Gardevoir. Because you want to.
You could even play this with Gardevoir. Oh no, it's not Psychic. I'm so crazy. It's fine. I'm crazy.
You could build it in like the TM Evo route.
And yeah, you could literally just do 4 airmails turn 2, and then you avoid the evolution route. I agree. There's so many ways.
I still think you play. I think you have to be aggressive with the deck, so I think you have to play like at least 2 candies.
I think 2 candies is right, and then you can play 4 Earthen Vessel, and just like you could find that. Actually, the way more I say it out loud, the more I think that's the right way. Instead of Luminous, if you play 4 Vessel to thin your deck out,
you can still play cards like Fluttermane and stuff.
Yep, you can. And just set up behind Fluttermane. You can even play Mimikyu in this deck.
That's what I'm saying, is like you play cards similar like how Gardevoir is being played currently.
Yeah.
And then you just play like you play like a rescue board or something to give it free retreat because you're never attacking with those things.
Yeah, and then even just to stay with the dragon theme, you could play the Tatsugiri and guarantee supporters for turn. And then start airmailing.
I don't know.
I love Tatsugiri.
Or maybe no, you definitely might in there.
It's either the.
I think you actually do play it in there because like the thing is like you can use the ability and then Team Evo. I think it's a good starter for those types of decks.
Yeah, the more I say it out loud.
I think in a deck like Charizard where like you kind of need cards in your hand.
Yeah.
Like any deck that's playing Team Evo, I think the Tatsugiri is good.
Yeah. And then I'm very interested to see how that plays against the Greninja EX. I think it's 170. I have it on Justin Basil. Hold on.
What's that? Or yeah, 170. Search your deck for any card.
Yeah, what's the snipe attack?
120, 120.
It's 120, 120.
Yeah, because everybody was saying it's legit. Just they're called.
Oh my god, this is hurting my eyeballs. Oh right, yeah, you're right. Upcoming releases, card translations, fighting. Because it's a fighting type. Yeah, it's 170. You may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, or discard 2 energies from this Pokemon. Do 120 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, which like that would be terrible against airmail. So maybe your Greninja matchup is tough. Maybe your Greninja matchup is tough. I wouldn't like that at all either. But like then again, that's. But yeah, that's turned off by Manaphy. You could just play Manaphy.
Yeah.
Because it's damage, not damage counters. Yeah, I truly think this Dragapult EX might be the guy to answer the Charizard prayer. I do. I'm behind it. I'm a believer. I am a believer in the Dragapult. Any cards that you wanted to look at? I know it was kind of random set review, set release type of thing. We'll obviously go more in depth completely when we get closer to NAIC. None?
That's all.
That's all you had?
The Legacy was the biggest.
The Legacy is huge. You could play Legacy Energy in this. Oh my god, you could.
I wouldn't.
I think Cape would be better.
Cape or Prime.
Yeah, Cape or Prime Catcher would be better. Because imagine you're 420 and you have no weakness. That is the coolest part of this. We didn't even mention that. Dragapult EX has 0 weakness. It's a dragon type. And it's got 1 retreat cost. So you can freely retreat, no big deal. And you get the energy back with Rod. And maybe play 1 or 2 Mila for fun. That could be an answer. All right, then. Well, that rounds up episode 3 of the Total Pile podcast. We appreciate all of you so much for listening and coming by and hanging out. And it's been a blast. I'm enjoying this podcast more than I thought I would. And that's thanks to you guys listening and Brock for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.
Peace.